Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Dinner with Diamonds. We are so stinking proud of you guys. I'm Emily Roberts. I've been with Plexus for 9 years, and I'm here surrounded with some Diamond sisters. And seriously, we were giddy talking about you guys who earned this. We were over the moon because you guys are putting in the work. And so this Zoom encompasses that. We're going to continue the work. We're going to celebrate that, feel the feels for a second. But then we're going to get right back to it. And tonight, each of us are just going to share a little blip of advice that we've learned in the last decade. At least for me, I've been here for almost a decade. It's pretty crazy. And we hope that what you learn from this, take away from this, is something tangible and applicable that you can just do tonight. Something that you're like, yes, I want that right now. Let's go. That's what we're going to do tonight. And so we're going to kick this off. Like I said, I'm Emily Roberts, mom of 3, military spouse, went diamond in 21 months. And sometimes I still can't believe it. And so tonight I want to share with y'all about laser focus. And so real quick, I have some people that can't get in. Hold on. It's actually one of my people. I apologize. Okay. Laser focus. I want to read y'all this quote that I am loving, and you've probably heard it before. So if I see some head nods, I bet your upline sent this to you a time or two. Okay. All right. You are not stuck. You are just committed to certain patterns of behavior because they helped you in the past. Now, those behaviors have become more harmful than helpful. The reason why you can't move forward is because you keep applying an old formula to a new level in your life. Change the formula to get a different result. So here's the thing, you guys. You guys are coming out of summer. Y'all did the work and you're like, I don't want to be stuck anymore. I don't want a negative mindset. I'm all in. I want Punta Cana. Anybody want Punta Cana? Me, pick me. And so here's what I want you guys to think about. When somebody says the word focus, does anybody else think about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson? Because I do. And only because he used to be a poster on my husband's wall when we would work out. And I know it sounds really strange, but that's the only reason my husband would do the workout. And it's because it was Rock staring at you while you did squats and it said, focus. And so for so long, I used to make fun of my husband and be like, I don't get it. But think about diamonds and think about Plexus for a second. Do you not watch a diamond documentary and that's your Rock, Dwayne Johnson? That's your focus. You're like, if I could just embody what this woman, this guy did, if I could just do that, then I know I would be diamond, right? So one second. I'm trying to play hostess and I should have made Emily Burgess hostess. So sorry, guys. I'm trying to let people in and they're my own people. And so I kind of feel bad. All right. So I have a question for you. In the last couple of weeks or months, have you thought that the future or your business future in particular was going to be different or better than it is right now? Someone asked me this question this year in May as a Diamond Ambassador. And let me tell you something. I was not laser focused. I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I was supposed to be stressed out, but I love Plexus and I love what we do here. But I was like, am I supposed to be stressed out? Is this work supposed to be fun? Like, I've been doing this for 9 years. And what happened was I just didn't have the energy because I wasn't prioritizing the things I should have been focused on. Here, write this down, highlight it, star it. Sending someone a happy birthday message is not an income producing activity. I said what I said. Don't get mad at me, but I said what I said. Is it a great conversation starter? Sure is. Could it lead to a business ask? Absolutely. But when I mean laser focus, I mean you have a goal and that goal has a schedule and a deadline. Because if you are not giving it a schedule or a deadline, it's just a plan. It's a dream. And those are great things to have, but you have to give it a deadline. So for example, for those of you on here and you're racing to Ruby by the end of the year, December 31st, and your calendar right now should say, are we Ruby? And every week you have a reminder to be intentional, disciplined, and energetic, that you're showing up laser focused and only doing 5 things, 5 outputs that get you that Ruby outcome or whatever the goal may be. So for me, that was my goal is 10,000 points. Okay. I am like a baby diamond. My goal is 10,000 points. There are diamonds on here that are well beyond that. And I am just That motivates me. And some of you are sitting there with your eyeballs real big. I know. A friend of mine that is diamond in this business has over 30,000 points. What? I was like, show me a screenshot. Screenshot or it didn't happen, right? Because sometimes it's hard for our brains to imagine that, but also stay focused. Like you're like, oh my gosh, I want that, but how do I get there? So what if for the next 90 days, you remember Emily Roberts telling you about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, to focus on the number one output every day. So we have this thing called a productivity planner. It's not an income producing activity. It's a productivity planner. And these like high performance habits people all over the world, like billionaires, CEOs, like Tony Robbins himself, they use this every day to get the things done that are priority. So what that would look like for you is 3 baby or daily goals, and then breaking those daily goals down into 5 steps. Do I need to create content? Do I need to clean up the way I message people? Am I confident when I talk about the business? Maybe I need to learn a thing or two. So must watch compensation video, must download compensation plan PDF, whatever that looks like. But it's 5 nuggets. And so maybe one is you want to work with 4 girls for the next 90 days to get them to senior gold. You do nothing else. Yes, you participate in the team page, but like you do nothing else. You're in communication with them. You're Zooming. You're inviting them to your house. You're hyping them up and showing them the way and showing them how to break down and map out their goals. You're laser focused. I can't help but think of that racehorse analogy. You know, racehorses wear those blinders, right? All they know and all they can hear is the sound of their jockey telling them, go, go. And they're not moving to the left or right or stopping or going backwards. They know to move in that circle and to run until they are told to stop running. You guys, don't stop running. Keep those blinders on. Stay laser focused. 5 outputs to get the 1 outcome. And then last but not least, you cannot be emotionally attached to the outcome. Your upline might get mad at me for saying this, but I think emotions are worthless in business. I do. I think they are very, very important for passion, but I think that is completely different because here's what happens. Anybody else wake up on the wrong side of the bed, your kid spills milk all over the kitchen, you burn dinner in the crock pot, and then by lunchtime, you're filing for divorce? Anybody? You're just like, what? Where did today go? Right? You have all these emotions, and of course, your brain wants you to feel the things, but then what happens to your Plexus business? That laser focus is no longer there. What happens is you're a moody Judy. And then who's going to sit down moody with burnt dinner, an angry husband, a messy household, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm laser focused. I'm going to be Ruby in 90 days. No, you're emotional. And you can't prioritize when you're in that state. Feel the feels and then do the work. Okay. And I think there's a huge difference between emotions and passion. That's an entirely different subject, but I'm glad you guys agree. I'm reading the chat. So that is what I got. I'm going to pass it off to my beautiful friend, Rebecca in Arkansas. And yeah, you guys grab a pen, buckle up.
Thank you, Emily. Y'all, I'm so proud of y'all. My name's Rebecca Folks, and I am super honored to be on here with y'all. It was hard work. I know some of you were doing really big things to get on here. And I do want to say, if you are on here, then you are working on the skill of recruiting. And that may be something that is giving you a confidence. And I want to remind you that that is one part of this business, and that you also want to be looking at connecting, at retaining, at helping to develop people and be able to bring people along in this business with you. And you're going to get so many nuggets on what that looks like tonight. And so for me, something that is a huge part of this business is being able to cast vision. And I think for a long time, I didn't really know what that meant. I would hear people talking about vision or oh, you just need to cast vision, cast vision. And I want to encourage you that there's two different ways and two different we kind of use vision. And one is casting that vision for ourselves. And the second one is being able to then take that and transfer it to other people. And so a huge part, when I think about some of the most successful people in this business, Tamara Holloway's on here. You're going to hear from her next. Definitely someone that I think of. The people that have just seen the massive success, their belief is so rock solid, and that allows them to be able to push that vision out there. And so you're going to need belief in yourself. You're going to need belief in network marketing as a whole. And then through Plexus with the products that we offer and the opportunity that we offer. And then I think there's two ways your check engine light might be on if you're thinking, okay, well, my belief's a little shaky and I don't know that I'm all in. And so my number one soapbox, if I ever get on one, it is about this. It is, who is in your ear? Who are you listening to? And it might be in your chats and you're thinking, oh, we're just a realist. We just need places to be able to be ourselves. It's not negative. It's just, we're just real. No, do not. I'm telling you, tune it out. Tune it out. Don't check those chats. And the other one, like even when the people are like, maybe it's just an air of like expecting things to not go right. That is a belief killer too. And then the second thing that I would tell you is get with someone who has bigger belief, that their goals are bigger, their vision is bigger. That is going to drip on you. Any conversation you're in, I tell my kids this all the time, influence is being exchanged every single time. And so make sure that the people that you are letting influence your thoughts, your feelings, that's going to determine your actions, make sure that's rock solid. So I just want to focus tonight on that casting, that creating that vision for yourself so that you can transfer it. And I think there's 5 steps for that. The first one would be to cast the big vision for yourself. And one way that you can do that is to look ahead and to be able to see, where am I going? And so I kind of think a good place to start with that is 5 years out. If you want to go back a little, if you just want to do 3 years, and I want you to think about what is going to happen in 5 years from now, 2028. How old are your kids going to be? How old are you going to be? How close is your husband to retirement? What's going on in that season of life? And this is one of those things that I feel like sometimes it can feel so cheesy, so cliche. And you're like, I'm not doing that. I am telling you, this matters, and it gets in your feelings, which for a lot of us avoidant people can be like, I don't want the feelings. I'm telling you, you want to feel this and to be able to really think about what your life is going to feel like. How much money is in your savings account? What kind of investment opportunities are you working on? 2028 is coming. It's not a dream, like it's coming. So what is that going to feel like? When it's kind of getting near the end of the pay cycle and you're sending a message to your spouse or they're sending a message to you saying, okay, we've only got 3 days left before we get paid. We need to reel that in. You know, what does that conversation feel like 5 years from now? What do your weekends look like? Are y'all buying a boat? Are you getting a camper? Are you traveling around? Are you getting to stay home and not have a different job? Be really, really specific on that. And then I want you to think about Plexus. Are you going to Emerald Extravaganza? Are you going to Destination Diamond? Are you bringing people with you? Who's coming? And are people calling you and saying, hey, will you do a Monday motivation for Plexus? Or we need you to talk about convention about what you are killing it at. What are you killing it at that Genevieve's calling you and saying, hey, I want to talk to you. I want you to share at convention this year. What are those things? So I want you to get really specific on those things. Okay. So that's casting the vision. But then number 2 is you're going to blur that vision out. I want you to think about it. I want you to dream about it. I want you to have it somewhere where you can see it and you can pull it out. But then you're blurring that so that number 3, you can focus on the mile markers. And the mile markers are like what Emily's talking about, your productivity, your habit trackers. It's where you're looking at the output. It's what you're doing, not necessarily on the outcome. Because here's the deal. when you're doing like a mile marker, those are where you've got your goals. Maybe that's your $500 a month. Maybe that's your, I'm going to earn Punta Cana. Some of those things that you have a little bit more control of and you can measure and you've got more of a metric there versus the big dreams that you're working on. And they're saying, hey, you're going the right spot. This is where you can align your action to this vision. So whether you've got productivity planners, you've got your IPA sheets, but that way at the end of the week, you're looking back and you're not saying, did I hit my goal? You're saying, did I do the things that I know are going to get me to that mile marker? Because that's your answer. You've got it really clear on the activities that are going to get you there, when you're doing them, it may give you an area where you're like, this is really working. I'm going to double down here, or I'm going to tweak this. But if you're not doing the activities, you're not going to have any data to analyze to be able to see what is working. Where do you want to focus the most? So then number 4, also something Emily touched on, which is kind of divorcing yourself from from perfection and from the outcome and saying, no, I am going to do messy action. I am going to dive in here. I'm going to not listen to 14 more podcasts and read 16 more books. I'm actually going to do the activities so that I can learn from my messy action and visiting those mile markers. And then number 5 would be, you're going to celebrate the small wins. And maybe that's in the beginning, that's your consistency, that you're checking that productivity planner every single week, because those are the confidence builders. It's confidence builder to yourself. No, I am going to do what I said I'm going to do. No, I am going to do the things that are going to move me closer to the mile markers. And if not, that's where some of that insecurity is going to come in and that fear starts to talk, because you're not really doing the things. And it's not because you can't do it. It's because you're not actually putting the activity in. And then I just kind of want to say this last little thing, that maybe right now you don't have some grandiose vision just yet. Maybe you're like, I can't even, I'm in the thick of it and I don't know that I can do that. And I want you to know, 10 years in, millions and millions of dollars made with Plexus, I still can just about get teary-eyed when I fill up my fridge every week. Every single time. There is something, I have no idea what a gallon of milk costs, and I don't want to know. I do not care. I loved knowing that when I go to the grocery store, I am getting every single thing that my family needs. I'm putting everything in the pantry, because I absolutely remember a time where that was not the case. Absolutely. And it might be for you. I want to go to the grocery store and not worry about what's going to happen when I get to the checkout counter. And if that's what it is, and that's the confidence builder, so that then you can think, oh, I want a lake house, or I want to go to the beach every year with my family. You do that. And then you go get it with these mile markers, with your productivity planners, with checking them off every single time, because I'm telling you, these things, this does work. And there are incredible stories, and we can't wait to hear yours. So I'm so proud of y'all. Congratulations. I'm passing the mic to Tamara Holloway. Seriously, y'all, you want, pick up your pen. Goodness. So much goodness to come.
Well, it's funny she says that, because I've heard Rebecca speak probably 103 times, and I literally never get tired of hearing from her. So wise, so smart, and I see all kinds of head nods, because it's absolutely the truth. She's a hard one to follow. Okay. Well, I love the topic of leadership. And I remember clearly when I got to around the senior Ruby mark, I was kind of looking around at this growing team thinking, oh my gosh, I really got to figure out how to grow myself as a leader. I have all these people and I want to do a really good job and I want to lead them really well. And there are so many aspects that are incredibly important when we're talking about leadership. But for the sake of time tonight, I just want to simply share with you all just a couple of the lessons that I've learned along the way, areas in which I've grown in over the years, the many years that I have been in this business. So one of my favorite words I want to touch on tonight is resiliency. If you're on my team, you probably heard me talk about this before, but it's the actual definition that I love so much. It's being able to spring back into shape after bending, stretching, or being compressed. And as a leader, it's so important to develop that skill of resiliency. Your team, they need you to be committed, consistent, to be able to bounce back when you hit a roadblock, because they're going to come. Emily Burgess and I, we've talked about this numerous times, that the strongest leaders on our teams are those who are resilient and consistent in this business. I have about 90 joules on my team, and I can say with 100% confidence
that the most successful ones are the ones who have developed the strength that comes with being resilient. Raise your hand if you ever felt some discouragement. Right? We're going to feel discouragement in this business. I've been there myself numerous times. This is a people business, and people are going to disappoint us. It's going to happen. And one thing that was so difficult for me for years, honestly, was the realization that most people, they want almost instant results. And when they don't achieve them, they quit. And that's whether we're talking about the business or the products or even their own leadership growth. I have seen people with some big dreams come into this business, and then someone close to them maybe says no to joining them, or worse, they say yes and then they quit in a month. Or one I've seen often is getting some sort of negative feedback from a close friend or family member, or maybe on social media, and they just feel paralyzed. When things are easy, it's easy to stay committed, right? We all feel that. That's with anything in life. So we can either choose to pull back when we encounter those struggles, or we can choose to lean in, learn, and grow from those things. I've seen numerous leaders go through seasons of hard, real hard in their business. And some have given up, some have pulled back, that slow fade, so to speak. And others have persevered and they've pushed forward and decided to stay consistent through the hard. And those are the ones I've seen grow and become stronger for it. My husband, y'all, in fact, this morning, he is always reminding me of this. He loves this quote that growth and strength comes from adversity, that it's actually really important for our growth to go through hard things. So take those hard things, you guys, that you will encounter, and seek to learn from them, and then ultimately grow as a person and as a leader. And I'm saying all that because I just want to normalize that it's not all easy. I do think a lot of times when you're newer in this business, or maybe you're not further as far along as you want to be in your rank, it's easy to look at these people who are emerald, sapphire, diamond and think, oh, it must have been easy. But that's absolutely not the case. You will go through hard things in your journey from the very beginning through your growth as a leader all the way to diamond. So another lesson that I had to learn early on was what Emily Roberts mentioned briefly, was to stop allowing my emotions to dictate my actions. Many know that I actually almost quit my business as a gold ambassador. I got real close to it. I hit a few roadblocks pretty early on, people quitting, a dream teamer that I was so excited to reach out to, but waited too long, signing up with someone else, negative feedback from actually some of my family. They're on the products now, but really negative feedback from them in the beginning. And honestly, one of the biggest things was I was so scared of failing that for a bit, I just felt like, you know what, it would just be easier to quit than, there's that word again, to be resilient and just push forward. So if I had time, I would love to just tell you all that whole story, how I overcame all of that. I do actually think I have a video on YouTube about that season of my life and my business and how I overcame that I would encourage you to check that out if you've ever been in that place. But all that to say, my business was definitely not built on the days, like Emily said, that I felt going, all gung ho and all excited about working my IPA, because that's just not always reality. There were plenty of days I woke up where I didn't feel excited. I didn't feel motivated to work my business, but I did those important actions regardless, because I eventually learned not to let my emotions master me. Emotions are wonderful servants, but they're terrible masters. So stop allowing any lack of motivation to dictate that daily action, and instead allow your goals and your vision, like Rebecca talked about, to be what is dictating that daily action. Last thing I want to touch on, you guys, is how important that I realized along the way, having a personal development plan. So that's different than just personal development. It's having a plan for personal development. Realized that was really important in growing my own leadership skills. Long before I even heard of Plexus, you guys, I recognized the potential in this industry because I was seeing some success from some other women that I followed, watching them go on these fancy trips, wearing fancy dresses at their galas, at their conventions, driving pretty cars. But when I was in that season where I was paralyzed by that fear that I mentioned, I was asking myself some seriously wrong questions. Things like, does this really work? Will this work for me? Can I do this? Is this network marketing thing real? The right question that I learned along the way, and I've asked myself this multiple times, not just in the beginning, was, am I willing to do what it takes to be successful? And am I willing to become the person that I need to become? Personal leadership is about who you have to become. Who you are is how you lead. Who you are is who you attract. In order to grow leaders, you have to first grow yourself. You first have to grow your own leadership. And to do that, you need to develop that personal development plan. John Maxwell at convention, he spoke to a group of us and he shared a story that really stuck out to me about years into his career, like multiple years into his career. A man approached him one day and said, I want to do what you do. I want to speak to the masses. I want to write books and be published, and I want to travel the world. And he said, he looked at him and said, of course you want to do what I do. Look how successful I am. Look at my life. But do you want to do what I did? And that, out of everything at convention, that was like the standout to me. And as a leader, it's a huge responsibility to practice those behaviors that you want others to follow. Personal development is not something you just sit down and get done. It's not reading 10 to 15 pages a day in a book or listening to a podcast while you're folding your kids' laundry. Personal development is developing yourself as a person. Otherwise, you're just gathering information, right? And it's also a process that I've learned in more recent years involving self-awareness, understanding who you are right now, right? And then understanding who you need to be to reach your goals. Leaders first learn to lead themselves. They intentionally seek to grow their leadership lead. They grow the skills of connection, of communication, of influence, like Rebecca said. So what are you doing to personally develop your leadership? Ask yourself this question, jot it down if you need to. What do I need to grow in and learn to develop the quality of leaders that I want on my own team? And once you get clear on where you are and where you need to be at, then you can look for those resources to fill and close that gap. This takes work, you guys. It takes intentionality for sure, but it's definitely worth the effort. One way to start doing that, just to give you something tangible, start by jotting down some leaders that you do admire, that you respect, and then a few qualities that you admire in those particular leaders. Maybe you admire how they connect to one another, how they make others feel, their ability to inspire people, or their confidence, or how they push themselves to do uncomfortable things. Maybe you admire their systems that they've created for their team, or how they recruit high quality people into their business, their character, their integrity, on and on and on. It can be and will be multiple different things. And this is your start. This is you defining, creating your definition of the pinnacle of leadership to you. And then the harder part is I want you, beside each of those characteristics, to rate yourself where you're at from 1 to 10, perhaps, on the skills or qualities that you personally want to grow in and personally want to grow in your leadership. Now, listen, we all have different strengths, right? We all have different weaknesses. I'm not talking about like trying to become someone else or looking at Emily Roberts and saying, I want to be just like her. So I've got to, morph myself into this. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are many leadership skills that are not necessarily natural to us, but they can be learned. Leadership is a skill set, and you can grow your strength and skills in leadership. And I've seen it done, you guys, in multiple different ways. I've seen leaders who are now amazing at doing trainings and really bringing value to their teams who once really weren't when they were starting out. It's something they worked on. They grew in with intentionality. So most of these skills that I'm talking about, they can be learned with that willingness to grow and that intentionality in that work. And then next, you work on bridging that gap. There's no specific formula. I really wish there was, because it would make it a lot easier. It's going to look different for every person. But if there was a formula, I think it would look something like getting clear on 3 things. Where am I now? Where do I need to go, or where do I want to be? And then creating a plan to bridge the gap between the two. That may look like hiring a coach or a mentor. It may be weekly coaching with your sponsor or a sideline that you trust. It may be group coaching. It may be investing in a social media course. It may be your resources or books or podcasts or a sideline partner who is modeled where you want to go, and you're in accountability with them in that process. It may be starting some therapy. Likely it's a combination of all of those, you guys. But here's the deal. If you have found yourself in the same place month after month, year after year, something has to change. You cannot expect to see a different result if you're not doing anything different. This business is definitely a do and then learn type of business. So even as you're working through that personal development plan, I want you to keep taking action, as all of us have mentioned so far, even when it is uncomfortable or hard. And I'm going to give you real quickly, I feel like I've talked way past my time, 2 books I've gone through recently that have been really impactful for me and the leaders I've taken through these is The Self-Aware Leader by John Maxwell. Super easy read, really, really good. And then Build to Last. And this would be a really great one to do as you're bringing new people in. I would suggest you send it to your brand new ambassadors who want to work the business, or maybe a gift for when they go silver, because there's a lot of really good nuggets in this. Honestly, no matter the rank, but it would be a really good foundational book for someone new starting out. Okay, you guys, what an honor to be here with you all. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to Megan.
Okay, hi guys. Okay, it's super hard to follow up so many people that I have looked up to for so long. I think I watched all of Tamara's training videos on my way to Diamond on YouTube. I just was obsessed with them. So anyways, a lot of the things that she touched on, I'm going to kind of elaborate on a little bit tonight. So we are going to talk about debunking some of the myths around perfectionism and then how to take messy action. So how many of you guys would say that you kind of fall into the perfectionism category where you will stop yourself from doing something because, oh, I have to get it just right. Oh, it needs to be perfect. Oh, I can't do that post. I can't do this. I can't lead this training. I can't make this video, whatever it is. And you have convinced yourself that it is in the name of perfectionism. But all perfectionism really is this cute little way to disguise procrastination. And we do it in such a way that we make it seem like it is this really noble and honorable cause. And it's like we're striving to do things in excellence, right? But perfectionism and excellence is actually two very different things. Perfectionism is unobtainable, right? We're never going to be able to reach that mark of perfectionism. And yes, do we want to do things in excellence? Do we want to do things to the best of our ability? We absolutely do. But if you're not taking any kind of action in the name of perfectionism, then you're also not doing anything in excellence because you're literally not doing anything. You're not taking the steps. You're not trying to work on your craft. You're not trying to get better. And so you might be in a phase where you're sitting there and you're consuming a lot of knowledge, right? You're working on that personal growth plan. You're reading those books, and I highly recommend those books that Tamara was just talking about. I'm reading Self-Aware Leader right now, and I've read Built to Last a few times. It's amazing. And so maybe you're in this phase where you're like, okay, I got to consume, I got to consume, I got to consume. But knowledge is not power. Knowledge is just potential power, because it's what you do with that knowledge that's going to make a huge, huge difference. And so instead of trying to be perfect, why don't we just try to be ourselves? Right? It's so much better because people are not going to be able to relate to you if you put on this persona that you have to be perfect in order to do this business. Okay. I remember when I first got started, one of my very first VIP Zoom calls that I did, I spilled my pink drink all over my white shirt. It was so embarrassing. I couldn't believe that it happened. But you know what? It's okay. And I've done many other VIP Zoom calls after that where I did not spill things all over myself. But listen, like my very first diamond meeting that I ever attended, I spilled like tomato stuff all over my white shirt. I should probably just actually stop wearing white shirts altogether. But you guys, like those things don't change. And so when I got started with this business, I decided that I was not going to let my perfectionism take over. Now, you're talking to the girl who in elementary school used to cry when she got 99s on her spelling test because it wasn't a 100. Like that's where I'm coming from. And I'm sitting here telling you, you have to take messy action in order to get to the top. And it's because the best way for you to figure out what works and what doesn't work, the best way for you to get better is to try and fail. And John Maxwell always talks about how you have to keep your failures close to your successes. Because in order for you to have a lot of success, you also have to have a lot of failure. And for people who struggle with perfectionism, that can be really hard to hear. You're like, well, I don't want to fail. I don't want to mess up. I want this to be absolutely perfect, but it's never going to be exactly the way that you want it to be. But it is always going to be better if you're putting one foot in front of the other instead of just sitting there overthinking and stressing yourselves out. And one of the things that I have found in this business to really create momentum and to get things moving forward is when you have a creative download, jump on that idea. Okay. And so, how many of you guys have ever had an idea of, hey, I think I need to message this person. I think I need to do this post. I think that my team needs me to run this challenge, or I think I need to do this, whatever it is, whatever that creative download is that you have in your mind. And in about 5 minutes, you've already talked yourself out of why you can't do that. Right? You've like typed up the post and you're like, it's too scary. I can't, it's not perfect. And then you never ever post it. Or you're like, man, my team's really struggling to develop silvers. Okay, I think I should run a silver and 7 group. Oh, but I don't know what to post. I don't know how to run a group like that. I don't know how to do any of these things. And you've talked yourself out of it. The quicker that you can capitalize on those ideas that you have, the faster you're going to build momentum and the more quickly you're going to build your business. When I was a brand new silver, now mind you, I had a slow start. It took me 5 months to find my first 3 people. Okay. And then it accelerated after that, thankfully. But I started making, when I came back from convention, from my very first convention as a brand new silver, I started making training videos about how to be successful in Plexus. You guys, I had no idea how to be successful in Plexus yet. I wasn't even gold, but I was watching what other people were doing. I was watching other jewels that I admired. I was watching Tamara's videos, right? I was watching Emily's videos. I was going through and I was like, well, here they are training. So I guess I should watch a video and I'm also going to train. And I look back at those and I laugh, but it was me taking messy action that got me to where I am. Because like Tamara was talking about, it's about the person that you become along the way. So if you've convinced yourself that, oh, well, I'll do those videos when I'm Emerald, or I'll run this team challenge when I've hit Senior Ruby, or I'll do this when XYZ, you've created these standards in your mind, you're lying to yourself because you're never going to get to that place. You have to do those things before you're ready. You have to jump in. You have to take that messy action. A lot of times on our team, we say that you jump and then you grow your wings on the way down. So my challenge for you guys is when you get that download, when you get an idea, mark it on a calendar, put something in place that is going to force you to figure it out by a certain date. So say that you think, okay, I think my team needs to do a slim down with ease challenge, right? We're just going to throw that out there. And you're like, and then your mind starts to freak you out and you're like, I don't know what to post. Okay, well, you just pick a date on the calendar, go to September and you say, we're doing a challenge this date. And then you put it out and you will figure it out because you're amazing. Somehow our brains will just figure it out by that date because you set it down. So any ideas that you have, things that are making you nervous, that you just are not capitalizing on, I want you to set a date to it to force yourself to show up in that way. Maybe for you, it's that you know you need to run a team call, or you need to run an opportunity event, or you need to do something that is really going to push you outside of your comfort zone. Go to your calendar, pick out the date, and I assure you that you will figure it out by that date. And if you're like, I still don't know what to talk about on that call, you will figure it out by the time that you're on that call, okay? And if not, then you will learn through that experience of what things to do and what things not to do. And that's okay. But the only way to truly fail in this business is if you give up. Right? That's the only way to really fail. And so you don't want to just sit there. You don't want to overthink yourself to death because that is so stressful. And so you want to sit there and you want to put one foot in front of the other. You want to take that messy action. You want to be yourself, right? Whatever version that looks like, show up as you. You don't have to be like Jill. You don't have to be like Emily. You don't have to be like me. You get to be that version of yourself and just own it, even if it doesn't look like anybody else in this business, right? You just have to be yourself, show up in that way, but stop overthinking every single thing that you do. And I wish that I could say that it was just so easy that I just snapped my fingers and all of a sudden one day my perfectionism was gone and I was diamond. But I still hit moments, even as a diamond, where I overthink things and I stress out about things. And then I go back to, okay, how do I get out of this? Okay, I'm going to set a date. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to put it down. And somehow I know that it is going to work out. So I want you guys all to tell yourselves and to write down on your paper, I will take messy action. And those are going to be the things that are going to get you to diamond. So capitalize on those creative downloads that you have, those ideas, because I know that you all have them, right? You all have amazing ideas, amazing things that are going to get your business to the next level, and you're just dragging your feet and you're stalling. Jump in on those things. So now I am going to go ahead and turn it over to my friend Robin.
Oh my goodness. Well, Megan, just amazing. So many amazing tips. Thank you so much for sharing, and all the other amazing diamonds who've gone before me. It is hard to follow you guys. I'm going to quickly share with you 10 principles that have really helped me on my road to success and getting to diamond. I'm 10 years in, 10-year anniversary, Plexiversary, just a couple days ago. And so I'm really, really excited to share these tips with you. So number one, you are responsible. You are the only person responsible for your success. Man, the best part of your life is going to begin, guys, the day that you decide that your life is your own. And the day that you decide that no one besides you is to blame. There's no one else for you to lean on. In this business, I have completely put my head down and decided if it is to be, it is up to me. And so this is incredibly important in a business where you're working for yourself, but not by yourself. At the end of the day, speed of the leader, speed of the team. You are in full control of your future. All right. Number two, you do not have to reinvent the wheel. I have a team full of amazing, amazing leaders who are already very successful outside of Plexus. They're executives, they're dentists, they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're all these things. And they start to do something like Plexus that is very non-traditional. And as soon as they get to their first little roadblock, it's like they freeze. They're like, oh, I'm not used to not having success. And so what is this? And it seems foreign to them. And so they start to like reinvent the wheel. And we're just looking at them like, wait a second, we've paved the way for you. Especially Emily was just talking about, like, a lot of us are 10 years in, man. And let me tell you, there were none of the things that they have now to offer you, the tools and none of those existed 10 years ago. There was not even Zoom. We didn't even have Zoom. We were calling in like a rotary phone. Like, hey, call this opportunity call. Here's Sheila. I mean, this is what we were doing 10 years ago, y'all. And so it is incredibly important that you go into this realizing that you do not have to reinvent the wheel. Lots of success has been found by taking something that has already existed and simply putting your own spin on it. Okay. Number three, there is no progress without action. Okay. What's not started today is never going to be finished tomorrow. And just remember that no action always results in 100% failure rate. I see people time and time again where they are just like getting ready to get ready. And I'm like, when are you going to start? Like, when's it going to begin? When are you going to take some action? So get into action now and begin to move in the right direction. Okay. Your job is not to do things perfectly. It is absolutely important for you to focus simply on making progress every single day. Okay. Number four, persistence always wins, y'all. I am like living proof of this. Persistence always wins. There's a great Winston Churchill quote that says, success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. A river cuts through rocks because of its persistence over time. Guys, I'm the chick that everybody knows. I have my first jewel from almost 7 years in. It took me to go diamond and to get my first jewel from a lady that I literally reached out to 87 times over 4 years before she ever said yes. Okay. So persistence always wins. Enough said. Okay. Number 5, focus is everything. Focus is everything. If you never focus clearly on something, you will never be 100% efficient at anything. You have to get crystal clear and very, very focused on what you want your end goal to be in your business and in your life. Because what I do know is multitasking usually reduces your efficiency in dealing with each individual task. So when you are making a decision to work your business, you have to focus and work your business. You have to also treat this like a business. If you want to get business pay, then work it like a business. If you want to get hobby pay, then treat it like a hobby. Number 6 is failure is necessary, y'all. It is 100% necessary. If what you did last month or in the last Leaders Retreat contest for the cruise, if it didn't turn out the way that you had hoped, tomorrow, even today, is a new opportunity for you to do it differently, right? We have a whole new contest out. Poochacana, here we come. You have a whole new opportunity to completely redo, tweak, and figure out how you can actually get from what Tamara was saying, where you are now to where you want to be, okay? I really want you to also interpret each failure as a lesson on the road to success. It's just a lesson, right? Number 7 is positivity fuels productivity, okay? You have to watch your thoughts because your thoughts are going to become your words are going to become your actions, and your actions become your habits, and your habits become your destiny, y'all. 100% of the time. So you have to take those negative thoughts captive and replace them with truth. You have to think about the fact that success comes from positive energy. So just like Rebecca was saying, like, who are the people that you are surrounding yourself with? What are you allowing to enter into your brain, right? You can choose to get caught up in the negativity that's surrounding you, or you can decide to do something positive about your situation, okay? And that's anybody in your life, okay? Now, number 8 is you must believe you can. I cannot stress this enough. The most significant predictor of success is high self-efficacy. What high self-efficacy is the belief that you actually can do the thing. Okay. So you must find the place inside yourself where you truly believe in your heart of hearts that anything is possible. It starts with the dream, and then that dream becomes a reality with commitment, with action and determination and just time, right? Because consistency compounds. Number 9 is helping others is a big part of being successful. If you don't have the right heart posture in this business, you're going to be hard pressed to get to the top and actually stay there. Like, you have to have a heart for helping other people. Successful people are constantly coming up with new ways to help other people. And a lot of these diamonds, they've been at the top for a long time, much longer than I have, y'all. But I can guarantee you they're consistently thinking about how can they still serve others on their team? How can they continue to add value to people? And they're not sitting on their loins and just thinking about, oh, I'm just going to go eat my bonbons. I'm going to get on my yacht for my yacht experience. I mean, they are focused on how can I continue to add value, right? Your long-term success is going to be directly tied to how well you serve your community, okay? And number 10, success is a journey of countless baby steps, y'all. Countless baby steps. I would venture to say it's probably taken me the longest to get to diamond. It took me almost 7 years. It was a constant process of growth, right? If you want to be successful, you must continue to hold yourself to a higher standard than anybody else. You have to strive to improve and strive to lead with excellence. So that's all I got. Thank y'all. I'm going to pass it off now to my wonderful friend, Emily Burgess.
I don't know about you guys, but I have so many notes from all of these amazing women. And also, I want to throw up right now because, like Megan, I trained under all of these women. And the fact that they even know that I exist, I'm like, I'm dead. I'm dead. Like, I'm sitting here doing a training video with all these women who I've just loved and have grown under for so many years. So my name is Emily.
And I love the way that we're all kind of talking about very similar things. We've heard a lot about focus. We've heard a lot about failure. We've heard a lot about resiliency. It all is coming together. Like, we didn't have this plan of like, let's all make this merge together. I think that this just shows that those are really, really important factors in growing a strong and successful business. So I want us to be interactive here. Don't unmute, but just raise your hand. I'm going to give you a few situations, and I want you to raise your hand if you have experienced any of this in your business. Have you had a customer cancel their account? Have you had unsupportive family members or friends? Have you had somebody say something hurtful about what you do at this business? Have your points slid backwards and you feel like there's absolutely no way that you're going to re-rank, much less reach your next rank? How many of you have had the courage to send a message to that dream teamer and you push send and you see the little bubble that they look at it and they never respond? Okay. These show that you're on the right path. These show that you're in good company, because I guarantee you that every single one of these diamonds has experienced every single one of those situations that I've talked about. What about a dream teamer? Like, you've got a business builder that joined your team and now they're not doing the business anymore. How many of you have had that? There's so many moments that we have failures, setbacks, whatever you want to call it, in this business. In leadership, it's not a question of if you fail, it's a question of when you fail and how you're going to respond to that. I remember when I had just gone gold, it was like this most concentrated blob of terribleness that happened right after I went gold. I had so many customers that were just canceling, like left and right. Customers canceling left and right. My points were dropping. I was troubleshooting with like 85,000 of my customers because they were unhappy because they weren't losing weight in the first 2 days. So there was a lot of stress there. I had nobody wanting to work the business with me. I had family members that were saying hurtful things. I didn't feel supported. And then I had somebody from our church share a horrible post. Tamara, do you remember that? Tamara saw it and she said, that's the nastiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, question, not even question, like, she talked about our integrity and our character and our hearts for Jesus and how Plexus was so terrible. And then reading all the comments, like, it was brutal. I had all of that happen at one point. And I had to come up with this decision of, am I going to like kind of slink back because this hurts? This is not fun. This does not feel good. Or am I going to make a decision to move forward? And though that was I will say that was the hardest season of my business ever, but that was the most massive turning point in my business ever. And you guys have heard so many people in here talking about all these great quotes I've written down about, like, you cannot have success without failure. John Maxwell, and this is actually funny, Tamara, because you were talking about the resiliency, and he talks about like a rubber band is resilient because it gets all bent and shaped, but then that's a picture of resiliency because it goes back to its shape. He says that the ability to bounce back from a setback often makes the difference between winning and losing. So that's up to us. Like Robin said, like, that's up to us how we decide to respond to these setbacks that are inevitable. Anything that you do that you're stretching your comfort zone, you are going to have setbacks. You are going to have failures, but how you respond to it determines what that's going to be like for you in the future. So if you feel like, I'm having all these failures, nobody wants to do this with me, all these people are quitting, I want you to just see all of those hands that were raised, right? So many people have gone through that. So you're not alone. So now it's up to how you're going to respond to that. So I put together just 5 little bullet points, little things that I have seen in myself or my team members who've been successful in ways that they've bounced back from the setbacks in their business. So the first bounce back from the setback would be failing forward. We're talking about that a lot in here. Learn from your mistakes so you can become better. John Maxwell talks all the time about that cycle of success. which I love that. Like, I love that that's the title of this, the cycle of success. Write this down if you do not have this memorized. The cycle of success was actually created by a guy named Paul Martinelli. And it is: you test, you fail, you learn, you improve, and then you retest. And so he says that's the cycle of success. That's not the cycle of failure. That is the cycle of success. Just like Robin was talking about, you're failing, but you're learning, you're improving, and then you're going and retrying it again. So that's the first one, failing forward. The second one is rebuilding your belief. When you have setbacks, at least for me, when I had those things happen, my belief was so low and my doubt was so high. And so I had to make a decision of rebuilding my belief. And some of the ways that I did that was I called people I did not even know. Y'all, I was a gold ambassador, and I called Jen Leaf. Like, she was a diamond. She hardly knew who I was. I called Paige Greenway. She hardly knew who I was, and she was an emerald. But these were women that I respected. And I said, please tell me your story. Tell me what Plexus has done for you. I need my belief to be rebuilt. Is this worth it? And so I just reached out to different people that I respected to hear their story. And that did like loads for me in my belief. And that helped me so much. So rebuild your belief, reaching out and hearing people's stories, going and reading testimonials, watching diamond documentaries. Another thing that I like to do too, and I'm the least green person in the world, but this helps me with my belief, is I'll take a look at some of the ingredients in our products, and I'll go to reputable sites, reputable articles, and I'll just read like the benefit of those ingredients. So those are different ways that you could rebuild your belief. The third response to a setback would be to remember your purpose. Live in your purpose. You're going to have people that don't want to do this, and that is okay. I don't want to eat kale and quinoa and go run marathons. That doesn't mean I'm against people who do that, but that's not me. You're going to have people who don't want to do this. That's not about you. But you are going to have people who want to do this. You are going to have people who you have no idea are praying for something that you have to offer. And so that is a beautiful purpose that you have. I think it's Megan Malakovic that has said this to me multiple times. Let your boldness be a blessing to other people. So don't sit in those few loud, crusty, cranky people who are super opinionated about all things. Sit in your purpose, live in your purpose, and let that purpose be a blessing to others. The fourth response with your failures or your setbacks would be to be in consistent activity. So if I know that inactivity kind of creates like fear, negative emotions, defeat, just all that negative stuff when you're not in activity, the opposite is true of when you are in activity. When you're in activity, like consistent activity, for me, I feel good. Like I feel more in control of my business. I feel positive. I'm growing myself. That's trickling down to my team. But if you're not in consistent activity, you're going to be battling that defeat a lot. It's not going to be fun. And so making sure that consistent activity isn't, oh, I just did the week-long IP activity, or I've been working for a month. I'm talking like long-term, like no stopping. Like you can do this in a beautiful way where you're not burned out, where you are working intentionally, but you don't have to work around the clock, but you do need to be in consistent activity. And then the fifth response to a negative, a setback, would be just like Tamara was talking about, a commitment to grow. You know, we hear all the time that you want to be adding value to others. And in order to add value to others, you have to be pouring into yourself. You have to be adding value to yourself. So figure out a way that you can be growing, because that is a natural outcome, a natural response of choosing to fail forward. When you're choosing to fail forward, you are choosing to have that personal growth. And when you do that every single day, you're going to get better every single day. So in recap, the 5 responses to those hardships, the setbacks would be failing forward, rebuilding your belief, remembering your purpose and who you're sharing for, being in consistent activity, and being committed to daily growth. And the last thing I want to say here is that there are so many stories. If you go online, you see pretty much every single highly successful person has failed big time before they hit their success. I mean, you can just see so many different stories. This is a normal part of growth. So let that be a comfort to you. If you're in that season, or you have been in that season, whatever that might be, let that be a bit of comfort to you that every successful person has gone through really big bouts of failure. We'll end with this quote by Michael Jordan. I'm sure so many of you have heard this before, but it's such a good one to be repeated. Michael Jordan, he said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. On 26 occasions, I have been entrusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." So you guys, go and succeed. Do not let these failures hold you back. Go and learn from them and make a really, really strong team. I'll pass it off to Jill.
Hello. I'm honestly nervous. I really am. It's really rare for me to ever be nervous when I talk and train and gather together. But like every single one of these ladies have said, I have learned from each one of them through my almost 10 years. I have held on to almost every word, every training. I have oodled when I've seen them in an elevator and have like held my breath as they've walked by. And I get to call each one of them one of my very good friends. And I know that I could call each one of them up today and they would help and they would stop. And that just goes to show how amazing your diamond leaders are. And it is such an honor to be sitting at this table tonight with each of y'all, not just with the diamonds. I love them. They know that, but to be here with y'all. You earned a seat at this table tonight. And that's something that I need you to write down in your September 2023 calendar that you accomplished and that you did. We often are looking at what we didn't do. We're looking at what we didn't achieve. We're looking at the points we lost. We're looking at where we suck. We're looking at what they said, and we're not writing down the achievements that we are rewarded with, that we are accomplishing. And that is something, guys, that we've got to do. I want you to like Dear Diary it up. You go put it in there. And so I honestly feel like during this call, I've shifted a few things. I was going to talk about a lot of this, then it was like, whoa, got to turn it over here. Oh, they said that, they already covered that. But I'm super honored to talk about treating your business like a business. It's something I'm very, very passionate about. And I've said it before 1,000 different times, if you've ever heard me on any type of call or stage or whatever, that I take my business very seriously. I was a waitress and a bartender through college. So I do a lot of Plexology today over there on the Instagram and all the things, because I like mixers. Add a lime, y'all. Give it a twist. Do it on the rocks. It's going to be real good. But I always said, like, if it was my shift, I was going to be that best server I possibly could in that shift. Number one, I was broke and I needed the tips, right? I was going to be, if it was my night to close the restroom, I was going to scrub that toilet clean. If it was my responsibility to sweep the floor, I was going to do it. If I'm a teacher, I was a teacher, by the way, if I'm in the hallway walking and there's a tissue on the floor, I'm not a janitor, but I'm going to bend down and pick up that tissue because I take ownership in what I do in my community and where I'm at. And so I want to talk to you today about treating your business like a business. Years ago, it was probably right about the time I went diamond. I've been diamond 6 years. Been in the company 9.5. I did a video a long time ago when we were still in the Stone Age, okay? When we were like, it was like Flintstones and now we're the Jetsons over here. But truly we were in the Flintstones age. And I did a video a long time ago and it went pretty Plexus viral, I guess you could say. And it was shared a lot. I even had a lady reach out and she made bracelets for me with this saying. She sent me like 200 bracelets and it was really cool. So anyways, I did a video a long time ago and it was WWDD. What would a diamond do? Like, I want you to sit on that for a second. Y'all know WWJD, like, what would Jesus do? We're like, Jesus wouldn't tell them to shut up. Jesus wouldn't cut them off in traffic. Like, we're constantly, catching ourselves. But WWDD, what would a diamond do? And you've heard from some amazing women tonight who've talked about their failures, their struggles, the mountains they've had to climb up and climb up again, the trenches. Like, we've brought the good, the bad, and the ugly, like we truly have tonight. And all of the things that every single one of us have shared, have talked about, it's getting back up. It's taking ownership, right? And it's holding on to that vision, like Rebecca talked about, holding on to that vision so very much to where you don't give a damn how much groceries are. Truly. Seriously, when Rebecca said that, my heart just went, I don't know if anybody else sat on that one. There's a lot of gifts and memes, gifs, whatever, memes that go around right now. And I know that y'all know this. And it's about groceries, all the price of grapes, and there's not even alcohol in that, and all the eggs, and all the this. Like, we're seeing a lot of things out there today about the price of groceries. Are y'all seeing that in your feed and your friends talking about that? Like, I'm about to go slaughter a cow. I can't support me. Seriously, it's like a big thing. And Rebecca said that. It just literally, I just sat on it and I'm like, I'm about to post that somewhere. Like, it just moved me. I don't know how much grapes are. I have no idea. I could not tell you how much toilet paper is. I don't have a clue how much a pound of ground organic grass-fed beef is. And I don't say that to say we wipe our butts with 20s. I say that to say we are so blessed by this company, because each and every one of us, I know their stories. I know them. I know Rebecca was a single mom. I know Robin was an assistant principal. I know Emily was a military mom. Like, I know a lot of their stories from the beginning. And every single one of us, we're on a budget. We're having to be very aware about milk and beef and eggs. And we weren't buying organic. I know that. And I know that each and every one of us today could say the same thing. Like, I don't. That's the vision you hold on to. Okay. I wasn't even planning to say all that, but I felt like God was like, we got to bring that back in. We got to talk about that again, because that's why we're here. We often get lost about Punta Canas and cruises and Caribbeans, and Lord knows where they're taking us next, and the shopping spree. And we're going to go, like, you got to get to the point. Emily Roberts and I were talking about this for all y'all logged on. We're the first ones. I said, Emily, we're vacationing a lot. Like, ooh. Girl, I said, we got to go to Mexico. And then I said, I'm turning around and going to Ruby's on the Rise in October. I'm training there. So if you're there, I'll see you there. And then we're going on a cruise. And then we got to turn around. And then we're going to Punta Cana. And then I said, we're vacationing. That is such a blessing to be in that position to where you're like, I'm already tired for the vacations I haven't even taken yet, that I'm getting so flipping spoiled by this company. Guys, that's the vision. Right? Like, those are great things. Those are great tangible items we're jumping on too. But the vision is the legacy business for your family. The vision is the full refrigerator, right? The vision is like what Rebecca said, not having conversations with your spouse about when the next pay period is, because you don't care, because it's not a struggle anymore. You're overly blessed that you're able to give above and beyond your tithe and offering, right? So treating your business like a business. I've got about 5 nuggets I want to share with y'all tonight. And they made me last, but shouldn't have made me last, because y'all know I'm long-winded. So number 1, ownership. And every single person talked about this tonight, but ownership. And I'm going to have you do some homework in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Once we get off of this call, I want you to log into your virtual office. Every single one of you, go log into your virtual office. And I want you to take a picture where the little My Account hover thingy is. And I want you to take a picture of the name that's on there. And I want you to send it to your direct diamond who's on this call. And I want you to tell them what name is on that business account. Half of you aren't going to do it. You're going to be like, Jill, that's dumb. Like, I'm not doing that. Okay, if you don't do it, I'm going to tell you right there, I'm weeding out who's diamond and who's not. You're off the team, like that kind of thing. You're fired. No, I'm just kidding. But truly, take a picture of it and you send it to your diamond upline and you say, that's my name, right? Often we don't even say that out loud. We're like, I'm a part of her team. We're like, oh, I'm logging into this, or oh, that's that, or I'm a part of. No, that's my team. That's how much ownership you should be rattled by it, right? That's Danielle's team. That's Kim's team. That's Casey's team. That's Kelsey's team. That's Kimberly's team. That's Haley's team. That's my business. Okay, so once we feel that, because we've got to feel that it's my business, right? I got, okay, so do I want to get paid in my business? I would hope every single one of us would be like, well, yeah, I want to get paid in that business, right? Okay, so let's take the job that you either currently have right now outside of Plexus, or the one that you previously had, your last job that you had. Let's talk about the job qualities that needs to be there. If you were up for a raise, a promotion, the parking spot, employee of the month, whatever that might be. What things need to be done? Put them in the chat. What things need to be done to be up for employee of the month, to get the parking spot, to get a bonus, to be noticed for that next promotion, to get an upgrade as an office, right? Seriously, I want to see what you got. Show up. Okay, 70-hour work week. Lord, hallelujah. Bring in more business. Work late. Okay, communication. Help others. Go the extra step. Show up. Overtime. Yeah, above expectations. Be a leader. Skip lunch. Must be consistent. Okay. Again, Emily Roberts said this earlier tonight, and I'm going to quote her. Your upline might be mad at me for saying this, and if they are, I don't care. This is where we're at. We're at the table. Okay. Those things right there, show up. Do the extra step. Do what it wasn't even on my job description. Work a little late. Pull in an extra overtime. We've got to be doing those things. No. I'm gonna lose you. Somebody like, wait. I heard nooks and crannies. I heard on my way, freedom for this. What's that look like? Okay. Yes, with intentional action and time blocking. Absolutely. Right? But where we get very confused on what intentional action and time blocking is versus nooks and crannies working. Nobody gets an overtime by nooks and crannies working, right? Nobody gets that overtime bonus because while they're laying out at the pool, it's like my work view today. No, that's not where diamonds are made. They're not made by the work view of the pool. Like they're not. Now you might get to answer 3 or 4 messages then and maybe create a fun reel, right? And do some fun glitzy stuff for your business, but that's not where the nitty gritty is, right? WWDD, what would a diamond do? So let's look at what you need to be doing for your business, right? Okay, show up early. I would love to know who right now has intentional time with their business, that you've got an alarm set, you've got some time block, you have some things that are set in stone, you have a conversation with a shareholder, a spouse, kids, if they're old enough to be talked to, and tell them what you're doing of, this is mommy's work time. Hey babe, on Thursdays, I need help with dinner. I'm in the office. This is what this looks like. Saturday during nap time for the family, or Sunday, y'all might be napping. I'm not napping. I'm working, right? I'm pulling myself away. Who has that time set? Good. That's fantastic. And if you don't, I'm not calling you out, but I'm stepping on your toesies. And I am challenging you to take that away tonight of like, well, if I'm going to treat my business like a business, shouldn't I work like a business? Shouldn't I show up like a business? Shouldn't I act like a business owner? Right? So I want you to think about one of your favorite businesses out there that gets a lot of your money. It might be a local boutique. It might be a restaurant. You and your family go to that same Mexican food restaurant every Monday night or every time after Sunday church, or you go to that same boutique over and over. She always carries the jeans that you love. Like you're cycling back. Maybe it's your hairstylist. You've been to her for 9 years. Why do you go back to that same business over and over and over again? They treat you well. They show up. You know what to expect. They make you feel good. They're consistent. They're open, for heaven's sakes, right? You know that when you go to there, you're like, oh yeah, she's going to be open. She's always open. Duh, I can count on her. Can people count on you? Are you carrying over those qualities for your business? Or I get it. Y'all, I get it. I've been through the trenches too with life. Like, I get it. We're not all going to be perfect on the same exact day and time. It's going to happen. We're going to make pivots. But majority of the time, are you showing up? Are you being consistent? Are you doing what you say you were going to do? Are you taking ownership? Robin said on a call a long time ago, and I just love it. I held on to it for so long. She said that we often are doing a minimum wage work, but we want millionaire pay. And so I want you to do some honest reflection with treating your business like a business. Are you doing minimum wage work? Are you doing millionaire work? And that's, guys, I'm telling you, this is not the business where you've got to go work 80 hours a week. You don't have to. No. But when you are intentional and you have that action planned out and you're time blocking and you're treating it very seriously, if you want your spouse, your in-laws, your sister-in-law, whoever to treat this serious and actually believe you, then you've got to treat it serious. Right? So when all those blows are coming in, you're like, you can blow all you want, but baby, I ain't going down. Blow, whatever. Like, I am here. I'm so firmly planted, back to the belief of what Rebecca was talking about. Right? So talking about that with treating your business like a business. Don't wait. Don't wait for a product launch. Don't wait for an upline to do a launch party for you. Don't wait for the call to be formed. Don't wait for the Silver and Seven series. Don't wait around to be like, well, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? Well, my team doesn't do it. I'm not sure. They used to do launch parties, but they're really not doing them anymore. Well, I don't like that they have calls on Mondays. Mondays don't work for me. Well, then do a different day. Do something that works for you. Maybe your upline's in a different time zone. Create something that works best for you. Take ownership of your team. Because again, you're logging into your virtual office tonight and you're going to look at that name. You're going to look at the name that they're going to run commissions for. That's your name. That's not your diamond upline's name. That's not your emerald's name. That's not your ruby's name. That's not your sister's name. It's your name, right? So if we want it to get done, we got to stand up and do the do, right? We've got to lead ourselves before we can lead others. And someone said that tonight. Truly, I think Tamara did. We have got to be growing our leadership so that we are leading others. All right, so don't wait. Time block with intentional action, okay? That is something that is so extremely important. Are you treating your business like a business, or is it feel good, seasonal fun? Today's sunny. It feels so good. I'm going to work. I'm feeling vibey today. Or if it's like, I'm crampy, I'm irritable, this is not fun, I don't feel healthy or happy. So how could I own a healthy and happy business, right? And I will tell you, I've been in seasons where I felt nothing of health and happiness in my life as a diamond, y'all. Okay. So if you have issues with that, find your girl. I get that. But guess what? This is my business. And this is my plan A. And this pays the bills. And before it paid all my bills, it was my vision that was going to pay the bills. And it was the vision that was going to bring my husband home from the oil field. It was the vision that allowed us to sleep in the same bed every night. It was the vision that he would sit by me at church. It was the vision that he would actually get to attend church and serve at a church. I often got looked at it like, oh, you're married? I'm like, yeah, married party of one, because he works all the time, right? It was my vision that I didn't have to live for summers. It was my vision that we didn't have to charge Christmas and vacations. It was my vision that I would be able to give and tithe above what I ever thought I could dream or imagine. It was my vision of how God would use me. It was my vision, right? So you may not be there yet, but it's your vision that's going to drive you. So if you don't have that conviction feeling right now with treating your business like a business, like you're like, I don't have it. I'm feeling duddy. It's not happening, right? It's time to find a new why. It's fine. It's time to revamp it, reevaluate it, get it back going. Because I tell you what, if someone owns a restaurant, they don't walk in a restaurant every day and be like, well, I guess we'll just serve burgers today. There's only beef in the fridge. No, they know what they need to order, what's on inventory, what's on backstock. Do we have cheese? Do we not have cheese? Is it shredded or is it sliced? They know what it is. And if they need to improvise, you might be getting shredded cheese on your burger that day instead of a slice, because they're going to fix the problem. So as a business owner, we've got to take those actions. We've got to pivot. We got to improvise. We got to be creative. We've got to have fun. And sometimes you're going to get shredded cheese instead of sliced cheese. But guess what? I'm still going to give you cheese, right? True. We've got to be able to do those things with our business. Take ownership. It's your business. And then finally, I want to end with y'all tonight, some calls to action. Call to action for all of us. So number one, I gave you a call to action. I want you to check your virtual office. I'm not kidding when I say that. Write that down. Okay? Write it down. Snap a picture, send it to your diamond upline. Tell her whose business that is. Share your vision with her if you haven't in a while, right? Do it. What's on your heart? What's stirring it? What does it look like? Okay, personal reflection. Everybody take your little hand, wave at me first. Hi, wave, wave, wave. I want you to take your hand. I want you to point it right here. Okay. And I want you to say this out loud. Ready? I'm going to say it and then you're going to say it. This is my business. This is my business. This is my business. Okay. One of the hardest things I ever had to do as an elementary school teacher, a former principal of mine challenged us to set up a camcorder. That was cool. Before you set up a little camcorder in your room, and she had us film ourselves from bell to bell. Boy, talk about uncomfortable. Yeah. Okay. And then we had to critique it. And then we had to go through each section. How I greeted kids, how I talked to kids, transitions, lessons, responses. And I'm telling you what, you want to figure out how to become a better person, film yourself and figure it out, because you're going to be like, no wonder that kid shuts down at me. Look at my body language. I said the right thing, but my stance was not there. Ooh, no, I didn't even make eye contact with them. What? You become so aware of everything you're like not doing, and you're like, that needs to change and that needs to change. So we obviously can't camcorder ourselves in our business, but what we can do is become more aware of our actions, treating our business like a business. So when those negative thoughts come in, right, that we've talked about tonight, I'm not worthy, I can't, I know, we're catching them. We're like, nope, not speaking that way, changing them. The action, the perfection action, the messy action that we've been talking about tonight, it freezes us and we don't do anything. Be willing to be like, no, 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 no. C's are a lot better than zeros, coming from the former teacher over here. I'd rather a child turn in a 42 than a 0, y'all. Give me the 17, baby. You need some points. We're going to get you a 17 instead of a 0. Be willing to do, be willing to take action. WWDD. I love what Megan said. She said, I was a silver and I was over there telling people how to be successful and I couldn't even keep my 3 people. Truly, when she was saying all that, I was like, God, that was me. I didn't know what was coming and I couldn't even pronounce the ingredients. I didn't know if nobody was going to show up. I had no idea, but I'm like, that's what a diamond's doing. And I guess that's what I need to be doing. Okay, I'm going to host an opportunity event. I'm going to rent out this little place. Maybe more than my mom will come, right? Seriously. Okay, I'm going to figure out how to do a call. We had to do these kind of calls. We had people log in. I don't even know if they were on the other line because I couldn't see them. But I was talking about what Slim was going to do and what this thing called triplex was in gut health, and acting like I knew a lot about health when I did not, when I was eating lean cuisines and drinking Diet Cokes, right? But I was telling people because that was me treating my business like a business and having ownership. WWDD, what would a diamond do? So I want you to have reflection on yourself. I want you to become more aware of when you're choosing to not work, because we all know, you're like, I have this plan. I'm going to do this today when the kids go down for a nap or when they go to bed, and this was going to happen. And then all of a sudden everything went to beep and it just happened, right? And then you're like, I just want to turn on the episode of Suits and just become one with the bed, right? Or whatever you're watching right now. And so you don't go do the action work. You go fall back into the same vicious cycle habits that we always do. Reflect. This is my business. Treat your business like a business. Call yourself out, because there is no manager or boss that's going to write you up, kick you away from your parking spot, or demote you. It's you saying, whoa, sis, check yourself. Whoa, sis, check yourself. Okay. So I could talk for forever tonight, but I'm going to end us. I want you to put something in the chat before you log off. I want you to put a takeaway in the chat before you log off. Even if it's the littlest of littlest things, put a takeaway and then grab your phone. And if you have not yet tonight, I want you to snap a picture of this screen, go put it in your stories, and you go tell people how flippin' cool you are that you got to be on a Zoom call with 70 people tonight, growing yourself, so that you had a seat at a table that was something that was contagious. Again, if you want to be treated seriously in this business, show people that this is serious, that you're serious about this business. WWDD, what would a diamond do? Put your takeaway, snap your pic, and then go do your homework. We love you so much. We're cheering each one of you on. Cannot wait to see you if you're either going to Mexico, you're going on the boat, you're going to Ruby's on the Rise, Gold School in Austin, I'll see you there. Or if you're going to Punta Cana, we're going to see you there. Wherever you are, if you see one of us, snap us, hug us. Let's become for real life friends. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful night, guys.